Hello, my name is Dr. Sonia Lisa McKenzie, originally born and raised in Brunswick, Georgia, to an amazing mom, single parent, Barbara Green. In my childhood, I experienced a lot of different things. One of the things that I experienced was witnessing my mom being in an abusive relationship. I was around the age of 7 or 8 years old when that happened. I recall very clearly waking to yelling and screaming, and my mom literally asking for mercy. I didn't know what was going on at the time, but when the door opened to her bedroom, I think that's when it all began to unravel. The beaten face, the blood, the crying, and being 7, 8 years old, not being able to really do anything about it was, I think, the hardest on me. And so the only thing that I could do was climb in the bed behind her and hold her, be the baby spoon, if you will. I think that's kind of where things began to unravel. Prior to witnessing that, I was a pretty happy child, had a very strong relationship with my mother. But after witnessing that and hearing the things like, I'm going to blow your brains out, I'm going to kill you, those things really did make a mark on my life. From there, as I grew up and became a young lady, I found that affected my life in a way that was different. I was very insecure with the skin that I was in, the dark complexion. I saw myself as different. My body was different, my look was different. I could pick out every single thing that was wrong with me. And at the time, I did not realize that that was because I had an absent father. So my dad was not there. And the stepfather that was present was one that was abusive to my mom. Fast forward, I went to high school there, Brunswick High School. Had some awesome friends there, but was still very insecure with the skin that I was in. Upon graduating, I did some things that I wasn't very happy about, and I couldn't really explain why. But at the age of 18, I attempted to take my life for the first time. I attempted to commit suicide. Ironically, at the time when that happened, I was staying with my father, my absent father. I decided I wanted to up and leave my mom, wanted to change my life, change my dynamics, and learn who my father was. When I stayed with him and attempted to take my life for that first time, the response to me attempting to take my life was one that was unnerving. He simply sent his wife out to get a gallon of milk, made me drink it so that I could vomit. He did not want the public to know because it was a small town, Tifton, Georgia. It's a very small town. He did not want them to know that his daughter attempted to commit suicide. So instead of taking me to a hospital, instead of, having me properly taken care of, getting the therapy, getting the support that I needed, he simply kept it behind closed doors. I think that was the very first time that I saw my mom's heart break. She came, she walked with me all night, fed me coffee, black coffee. I remember that, and we walked all night long. That was when I decided that I wanted to go back home and I wanted to do something different with my life. Somehow another roadblock came along and I attempted to commit suicide again. The second time I attempted to commit suicide, I was on an Army base. The Army police came out, and all I remember was being on a stretcher and being taken off an Army base with lots of people watching me. Next thing I know, I woke up, I was in the emergency room. My stomach was being pumped. And next thing that I know, I think it was 2 or 3 days later, I was in a mental facility. I still couldn't figure out what, why, when, what was the purpose behind me attempting to take my life again. But somehow I learned a lesson from that. And what I chose to do is to take that experience with that trauma and try to do something different. So I chose to go to fashion design school in Atlanta, Georgia, Barter College, obtained my degree in fashion design. After I obtained my degree, decided to stop. I was afraid to go any further, stepped back, moved back home, worked 2 jobs to maintain, because I didn't know what it was that I wanted to do in life. Around that time, I think I was about 21, 22, and I was diagnosed with polycystic ovary syndrome. That diagnosis almost killed me, because what that meant was the likelihood of me having a child was very low. So that was a blow. Experiencing abuse as a 7 or 8 year old, actually witnessing that, attempting to take my life, and twice, not once, but twice, and then pursuing a dream that I felt was ridiculous after I completed it, which was fashion design. So again, coming back home, diagnosed with polycystic ovary syndrome, another blow. And I began to date a young man. I thought, gosh, this is the first man that actually saw me for the dark skin that I had, that saw me for the tall frame, all of these different things that I thought was wrong with me. He saw beauty in me, and I was so elated. I did not know that I was setting myself up for a repeat of what my mom had gone through. So at the age of 22, 23 years old, I became a victim of domestic violence. It started out as verbal abuse, and then it became physical abuse. It was ironic because this young man was not someone that I would have seen myself with, but because he said the right things, the right places, he treated me the way that I thought a man should treat me, I fell in love. I allowed him to abuse me physically and emotionally. I allowed him to take away all of the beauty that I thought that I had began to build from that relationship. And this man took every part of my soul. I later learned that he was addicted to drugs. He was on, I think originally he was smoking marijuana. It then went to crack, and then some other things. I really don't know. I didn't know that lifestyle. I was a homegirl. So it was, again, like I said, it was very different because he was more of the guy that was out in the street. I was the little girl, the young woman, not little girl, but young woman that was in the house, church, worked 2 jobs, and just focused on being. Moving forward, I remained in that relationship for a good 4 years, maybe 6 years off and on. During this time, he was in and out of prison, and I maintained the relationship. I thought I couldn't do any better. I thought, hey, this is who I am. This is my life. This is what I know. Abuse is okay because I saw my mom go through it. When my mom went through it, my grandmother encouraged her to stay in that relationship. So I thought, this is it. This is my life. So I wait for a man who has a drug addiction. I allow him to abuse me. I just live in it. Moving forward, just a little bit here. He went to prison. I can't even begin to count what number this was, but he went to prison again. This time it was for almost killing another woman that he was cheating on me with. When that happened, I had a very strong conversation with my mother, and I told her, Mom, it's time for me to go. I can't stay here. I've got to leave while he's gone, while he's in prison. I've got to go. I can't live this way anymore. I did not tell her why. I just told her it was time for me to go. My mom did not know any of these things were happening. She did not know about the abuse. I did not go around whenever he abused me. I did not allow her to see me. And so I relocated to Marietta, Georgia in 2006. After being in Marietta for about 6 months, he showed up at my front door. He was released from prison. And I was in a position where I was afraid, but I simply said, you can't stay here. We can't do this. We got in my car. I was afraid that he would hit me, yell at me. I did not know what was going to happen, but what I did know was that he could not come back into my life. I drove him to the MARTA station and drove off. He did not come back. He did call. He did try to reach out, but he did not come back, and I thank God for that. When I started my life in Marietta, I received or obtained my very first corporate job working for a company that certifies physician assistants. First corporate job, I was so excited, making probably $10,000 more than I was making working 2 jobs in Brunswick, not knowing that that still wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. But to me, wow, like $10,000 more than what I'm making, oh, in a corporate America. So I worked at this job, again, walking into a situation where I was abused in a corporate position. And when I say that, it was basically, you have a degree in fashion design. What does that mean? There's no growth opportunity here for you for that. You've got to obtain some education in order to grow in this company. So I was taken advantage of. I was worked very hard and underpaid. I asked for a promotion. And when I asked for the promotion, this is kind of where I feel the injustice and the disrespect came into play. I was told that you only have a degree in fashion design. You're not going to go any further than that here with just that degree. So what'd I do? I pursued 6 degrees, 11 certifications, and completely surpassed my manager's education. So about 10 years into the job, I received a promotion. And I was very excited about that, but still felt disheartened because I had to do all of that to prove my worthiness of being promoted to a simple manager's role. I stayed with the company for a long time, but essentially that became a very toxic situation. But while there, one of the greatest things that happened was I conceived my daughter at 35 years old, after being diagnosed with infertility, after being diagnosed with PCOS. I found out that I was pregnant. I was afraid because the first thing I thought about was, I'm a 2nd generation survivor of domestic violence. I'm very insecure. How am I going to take care of a child when I can't even really take care of myself emotionally? How is this going to work? It worked out. The company that I worked for spoiled me rotten. They gave me everything that I possibly needed. My mom was super supportive. And while my daughter's father was absent, same as mine, I had all of the support that I needed. Moving forward, the greatest part of the story was that I founded a nonprofit organization called Women of Virtue Transitional Foundation. The purpose of the organization was to empower, educate, uplift, and encourage women who had been affected by domestic violence. That was my purpose. And the reason I chose to do that is because overall, I wanted to break a generational curse, a curse that I witnessed as a 7-year-old, 7 or 8-year-old, that I myself endured as a woman in her early 20s. And I didn't know what I was doing, how I was going to do it, but I did it. And I lean into faith because I have no idea why in that moment, that was 2016, didn't know how to develop a nonprofit organization, didn't know what I was going to do, didn't know how to develop a board, didn't know where the money was going to come from, but I did it. Moving forward, I eventually trademarked a name called Thriver. Did not know at the time what Thriver meant. Don't even know why it was on my mind to trademark it. Essentially, it ended up being the name that I was known by, Thriver. What does Thriver mean? It means someone, particularly a woman, who surpasses the expectation of surviving, but they're thriving in their survivorship, if that makes sense. Example, experienced domestic violence, went through domestic violence, diagnosed with PCOS, attempted suicide twice. And instead of simply saying I'm a survivor, I'm a victim, I have the victim mentality, what I did was I thrived in it. I used those experiences to bring me to a space where I could sit down with the worst, the best, the greatest, sit down with them all and say, I see you. I see you. I see you. I hear you. I feel you. Not because I have education, not because I think I know what you're feeling, but because I've been there. I've attempted suicide. I've been through abuse. I've been told that I can't have a child. I've been told that I'm not good enough. I've been told that I'm not pretty enough. I've been told that I'm not smart enough. I've been told all of these things, and somehow God turned it all around. So at the end of the day, Thriver became the name of the organization. I changed it from Women of Virtue Transitional Foundation, which is a lot, it's a mouthful, but I changed it to Thriver. And Thriver is someone who does not accept the word, I'm a survivor. They accept the word, I am a thriver, because I'm thriving. I've surpassed all of those things, and I'm living proof that God is real. Fast forward, I like to say that Thriver has become a movement. It's become who I am. It's become the women I engage with. It's become the motivation for me to sit down and listen to women who have been through something. It doesn't have to be domestic violence. It doesn't have to be, I've attempted suicide. It's just someone who's hurting, or someone who's been down and out, and someone who doesn't know how to come out of that hole. I love being able to get down with them and comfort them and support them and say, girl, I see you. Dude, I see you. I feel you. And it's not about I'm sympathetic. I'm empathetic. I feel it. I've been there. I've done that. And I'm a living testimony that you don't have to stay in that hole. You don't. It's so many ways to get out. It starts with having faith in your abilities and what you can do. So from Thriver, extended into what is now dropping on March 16th, Thriver Movement Magazine. Thriver Movement Magazine is a magazine that is self-funded for the purpose of creating a platform for women all around the world, not just in Georgia, not just in Florida, not just in Maine or wherever, literally Africa, London, everywhere. I want to be able to get down and have conversations with women who are all over the globe, who have experienced some form of trauma, who have been through something difficult, whether it's divorce, whether it's being diagnosed with infertility, whether it's losing a job, whether it's working hard in corporate America only to be knocked down at the knees and told that you can't do it. It's about bringing those unsung women, those voices to light. And I have to tell you that the first edition, every woman, all 25, all of them were beautiful, receptive, and their stories were so different and yet so unique. From one woman who had to talk about food disparity and how she made it into this big empire where she teaches families how to create beautiful meals from a little of nothing. You know, Jamaican background, living in London, to a woman who had a whole family living in a car. And she went from living in a car to becoming a vice president of her own business, and to living on acres and acres and acres of land where her children can run, live, and thrive. To a woman who almost had her life and her children's life taken by a man who didn't think enough of her or her children to spare their lives, and somehow he made it out. And she's thriving. So overall, the purpose I feel of my life and the reason that I've been put here is to empower, encourage, uplift, and love on some people. I love loving on women because I can relate. I'm open to the men too. If they need some encouraging and uplifting, I'm not gonna say no. But women is where my heart is. I can relate to them. I can empower them. I can encourage them, and I can love them the way that they deserve to be loved, because I know when I went through all the things that I went through, what kind of love I needed, what kind of attention I needed, how I needed to be empowered and encouraged and loved. I know that, and I love that. And sitting here today, I can say I have all these degrees. One of the greatest accomplishments that I have is being recognized as the 2025 Georgia Mother of the Year. I would never receive that recognition if I had allowed myself to listen to what healthcare professionals said. You're not going to be a mom. It's not going to happen. You have PCOS. The likelihood of you giving birth to a child is pretty low. To me, that is one of the greatest accomplishments next to being a mother. Being recognized for being a mom that is doing great things. I'm not calling it out that way. Clearly someone else is calling it out that way, but I think that I just love my daughter the way that I love her, because I want to protect her, and I want her to know all of the rawness right now so that she can be prepared for the world. I've held her hand and she's held my hand for years now. And I don't think that I would be in this position where I would have the nerve, the energy, the hope, and the power to be who I am today if I didn't have her. That's Sonia McKenzie, not Dr. Sonia Lisa McKenzie, but Sonia McKenzie. Simple. When I think about someone who's been through some or any of the things that I've been through, the advice that I have for them is there is hope. Don't be ashamed. We are all imperfect. None of us are perfect. Embrace who you are. Seek out help, because I'm a big advocate on therapy. When you have an unbiased party that can listen to you and support you and uplift you and give you hope, that's one piece of what's important. And the second piece is look in the mirror and see who you are. You are beautiful. You are awesome. And you are more than what you've been through. But I have to lean into it strongly. Seek help, therapy. If you're going through a domestic violence situation, seek out an organization that will support you in getting the resources you need. Thriver Inc., it's not a plug, I'm simply using it as an example, will help you find a resource to get out of the situation, to connect with somewhere to live, to seek out therapy. We will support you in getting those resources. But you've got to get help, and that help comes from faith, outside entities and organizations, and mental support. Mental health is really being stretched right now. People are being pushed to the limit, and you've got to be humble enough and vulnerable enough to say, I need help. That's what's most important. So when I think about rising, to me, it's ironic you should say that. I think of the phoenix rising from the ashes. I've been burnt, I've been knocked down, I've been drug out, I've been through a lot. And I could have easily died 2 suicide attempts ago. But it didn't happen. I fought and I rose from the ashes, and I would just be remiss if I didn't say, only God could have done that. He could have let me go. I could have fallen in a hole and didn't get up. And rising to me is being able to fight my way out, just like a phoenix, from the ashes and the flames, and rising above all of the mess that could have taken me out. That's what rising means to me. And that's what I'm continuing to do. I won't stop rising until the day that I die. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can reach out to me at www.thriveher.me, thriverinc.me. You can also find me on social media under Thriver Inc., under Dr. Sonia Lisa McKenzie, or just Google my name and you'll find me. You can reach me by email at thethriveher@gmail.com. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn. My website has all of the resources there. Again, that's www.thriver.me. You can find me there, Thriver Incorporated. Reach out. I'm available to talk, to connect you with resources, to empower and encourage you, to speak life into you. You will get me. It's not someone else that's representing me. You will get me. If you need help, I'm there.